Welcome back to the Vintage Firearm Series, episode 3. Today we're going to be talking about a single barrel trap. In fact, this one is kind of personal to me because it was the first single barrel trap I ever ran across. I'd knew of them, seen them in pictures and that kind of stuff. Didn't really appreciate what they were, but when I saw one in person and picked it up, I thought, wow, this is cool. Now, this gun, as a lot of them were built in the 20s. This is Lefever. This was, at this time, a part of Ithaca. Lefever was at one time a freestanding company, but Ithaca bought them in about the 20s. The exact year, I don't remember right offhand, but so it was kind of funny because Lefever and Ithaca were making single barrel traps at the same time, owned by the same company, and this one I believe would have been during that time. Now, a lot of people today look at a single barrel as being an inexpensive alternative to something else, but in reality, during this period of time, the single barrel trap was quite the gun. It was made to be shot almost continuous, and this gun here has had a lot of shooting time on it, and I'm fine with that. I love it. Even when I first saw it, I saw the words Lefever. This is a milled out solid block steel receiver. Back in the day, the way to do it, and I would argue still the way to do it. It's just cost prohibitive. So when you start looking at these and then you say, well, this one here, this is probably the most worn one I have, because I usually look for them to be, really the best examples and they're the least shot. But I love this gun. It's got to be like one of my favorites for certain, and I'm sitting here trying to think, is it my favorite gun to go shooting through the woods with? And I think it probably is exactly that. But that will change on the day and what I feel like and how much I want to carry and all of that. It's not an extremely light gun, so that has to be taken into consideration. But it's a wonderful gun. If you aim at something with a 12 gauge and this particular gun, the way it's sighted, you're going to get it. I've been successful up to 165 feet, and that may not sound like a great distance to some of you, but when you're shooting a shotgun, that's pretty good distance, especially in heavy woods, because most of my woods are pretty heavy. So if I can get a shot out of 165 feet that is quite successful, then that's pretty good. And I don't mind putting anything through this. It's a full choke, so I'm obviously not going to put something heavy duty through it like a slug or anything. You ruin the gun. But I have no problem shooting 4-shot through it. I've shot a lot of 4-shot through it. That's what I got that 165 feet shot. So, you can kind of look at it. All of these years, haven't heard it. It's just under 100 years old. Let's take it down. Okay, I was into a gun shop. One of the ones I go to on a regular basis, but there's a lot of young people, and they come and go, and anybody who loves guns is good with me. And so he was commenting on, wow, it's something else. It's got a serial number in the forearm. Well, they all did. This was back when guns were handmade, and everything was done, even if it was done with a machine, it was done like by hand with the machine. Well, there was no computerized stuff, and so it's labor-intensive stuff, and each piece was hand-fitted to the rest of the gun. So the serial number was really important. So when they were working on it, they didn't get confused, because you could imagine if they're all being hand-fitted to the gun, that next gun isn't going to be quite right, and you've already shaved off some to fit a particular gun, then you shave off some more or something, or maybe you've had too much shaved off to fit the right gun. So they're going to stamp them all. And of course, you've got serial numbers on the barrel, on the receiver. You know, there were some companies, the Swiss, I love those guys. I have a K31, and they come with the serial numbers on the clips. I mean, I don't know. Maybe there's other companies that do that, but I've never seen a clip. You know, now everyone's going to tell me all these different companies that do that. I don't know. Recently, I misplaced my choke gauges, and you know they're kind of awkward, anyways. I'm going to look at this gun and talk to you about it like an old timer would. So what we're going to do is we're going to dime here. This 12 gauge. We're going to go ahead and see, that's the way it should look, okay? So if you have a dime on you and you're in a pawn shop or a gun shop and you want to know what choke it is, you can get an indication. Now, if it's going to be a cylinder bore or improved, modified or something, that dime is going to go right inside. So, but a full choke. Now, I do want to point out that all gun manufacturers consider choke, full choke, and all of these other things to be different. So you can even get different gauges that represent different choking, you know, insignias on it. So a lot of times, you know, I'll walk in with a choke and I'll say, oh yeah, and this is not too good. And then somebody behind the desk will pull out one of the round ones, and they're more aggressive, I think, is for being heavily choked. So it just depends on what the manufacturer was, who believes that the what a full choke should be. I mean, because that's, you know, neither here nor there. This is a cool gun. The checkering is pretty much worn out, and that's okay with me. I love this gun. If you shoot at something, you will hit it. Now, I'm going to go out and I'm going to shoot in a couple of minutes, and you're going to say, oh my gosh, he missed everything. Well, it's probably the case. But the truth of the matter is, I love this gun. Sometimes I can hit it. I like to shoot 1 gallon metal oil cans, you know, paint cans that have had oil in them. And you can make them suckers go flying if you hit them just right. So if I'm successful today, maybe I'll do that. It's got a real traditional safety on it. And so it's kind of cool that way, you know. I love it because the last thing you do, you pull it up, and the last thing you do, it's right there. Now, other people will tell you that, you know, the cross button and all that. And I like those. They're fine. Then you've got the suicide button, and that's the one that goes, you know, inside. I don't consider that a suicide button. You shouldn't have your finger in the trigger guard if you're not going to shoot. My dad used to say, you never pull a weapon out if you're not going to shoot it. It's one motion. You pull the gun out and you use it. He never fired a gun in anger in his life, but he knew the philosophies well. And I think that's something that any experienced gun person will tell you, that you never fire a gun. You never bring a gun out unless you're going to fire it. And because brandishing a weapon, not only is it against the law, but if you pull a gun on somebody, he's not going to try to figure out what your motive is. So if you pull a gun on somebody, you could get shot, and that's justifiable cause. So he's just defending himself. He doesn't know that you don't have one in the chamber. He doesn't know that you're not intending to shoot him. Don't pull a gun out unless you're not going to use it, unless you are going to use it. And then, so right here, I love this. It's the last thing I do. And, you know, some people will pull the safety off before they pull it up. In an arrangement like this, I do not believe that's a good idea. okay? You have that safety on at all times. And now the other thing I want to talk about is a single shot rifle, shotgun, whatever. What does it do? What does it accomplish? In my opinion, it makes you a better shot, but I'm not the only one who thinks that way. If you go back to World War I and stuff, a lot of the trainers in the early days certainly were single shots. I mean, the 1885 by Winchester, that's John Moses Browning's design, of course, was a single shot. And the idea that it took so much time and energy to load that and to to fire it and then take that shell out and put a new one in, you thought about it. You brought that gun up and you thought about it before you pulled the trigger. Now everybody knows your finger never goes inside the trigger guard unless you're going to pull palm. That's just the way it is. Let's go out and see what I can do. Let's see what kind of damage I can cause with this. And I think that I'm hoping you're going to enjoy it as much as me. I always enjoy shooting this gun. I always enjoy shooting tin cans. I've been known to make them fly in the air. You got to hit them low, and sometimes if you do that, you got to hit them at a certain spot, and if you hit them at a certain spot, they actually go vertical. It's amazing. So I'm going to try to do that today. Sometimes I miss when I try to do that because it's a fine line between missing and making it go vertical. So we're going to see what happens today. I hope you enjoy it, and let's go out and see what we can do outside. Okay? Let's go. Okay, so here we are outside. We're going to give it a run. Got some 7.5, should do it. And I'm going to move the camera down closer because last time when I did a video, man, you couldn't see hardly anything. So I'm going to shoot from down there, well, as far as the video shot, and I'll be here, of course. And if you look real close, you can probably just barely see the cam. They're about at 50 to 60 feet away. But we're going to get you up pretty close, and but we don't want to get too close because if I am successful and they do go flying in the air, I want you to be able to see it, where it goes. Okay, let's go check it out. I'm going to go move that camera. Okay, well, I guess that's it. That's what we did. The first one, actually, I didn't think that one was going to go flying because it had, I don't know, 10% of dried residue in it. So I thought that wouldn't go. That wasn't too bad. The others kind of stuck around. They didn't go flying as much as I had hoped. And then the little kid in me, well, I had to get the little bean can and destroy it along with my shooting post.